There's a side of female desire that almost no woman talks about. I'm not talking about the surface-level attraction you see on dates or in social media posts. I mean the deep, raw hunger that stays buried inside. A hunger that makes her think about a man even when she doesn't want to. It's hidden, censored, and rarely admitted, but it exists in every woman. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what triggers that secret desire. What I'm about to reveal will completely change the way you understand attraction. You'll see why the nice guy often loses and why the bad boy always seems to win. Stick around and subscribe because this channel doesn't hold back. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact trigger that turns interest into obsession. A few years ago, I had a conversation that opened my eyes. I was drinking with a female friend. She's a brilliant psychologist with a PhD. I asked her one simple question. What really excites women? Not what they say, but what they actually feel. She paused, thought for a moment, and said something I'll never forget. Every woman has a part of herself she's too embarrassed to admit. A part that wants to surrender, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. A part that wants a man who takes control, knows what he wants, and makes her feel safe and protected. Like the feeling of being cared for as a child. We all feel it, but admitting it is taboo. That conversation explained a lot. Women who talk about independence and equality can still respond powerfully to a man who confidently leads. Too much politeness, too much respect, actually kills passion. Real desire lives in the tension between what she says and what her body reacts to. Here's the secret. Female desire works on two levels, the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious level is acceptable desire. She says things like, I want respect, equality, someone who listens, someone who asks my opinion. That's rational, logical, and what society expects her to say. The subconscious level is where true desire hides. It doesn't care about equality or rules. It responds to dominance, confidence, certainty, and controlled power. It's wired by evolution. Millions of years ago, choosing a strong, capable man meant survival. That instinct hasn't disappeared. When a man touches that hidden level, attraction becomes uncontrollable. She doesn't just like you, she feels drawn, almost addicted. She can't explain why, but she knows she wants you. That's where real passion, obsession, and connection begin. Understanding this changes everything about dating and relationships. It's not manipulation, it's awareness. Knowing how desire truly works lets you unlock the intensity every woman feels, but few ever admit. Here's a truth about attraction that most people never talk about. Women are secretly drawn to men who could hurt them, but choose not to. Now let me be clear. This isn't about violence or being cruel. I'm talking about psychological power. It's about a man who has options, who could be harsh, distant, or selfish, but consciously decides to be kind, protective, and loyal. That contrast, the ability to harm versus the choice to protect, is what creates deep, instinctive attraction. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. Thousands of years ago, women needed men who could protect them and their children. Choosing a man who was weak meant danger. They might be abandoned, left unprotected, or unable to survive threats from rivals or wild animals. But women who chose men who were strong but controlled, the ones with skill, power, and danger in their hands, yet who used it wisely, survived, and so did their children. That instinct hasn't disappeared. Even today, in a world of city life, online shopping, and apps, women's brains are still wired to notice men who have strength but use it carefully. It's not about doing something flashy or violent. It's about self-control. It's about showing that you could dominate or hurt, but instead, you choose to be calm, respectful, and protective. That combination triggers attraction at a deep, subconscious level. This is why so many nice guys fail. A man who is always predictable, agreeable, and safe never activates that instinct in a woman. Nice guys don't show an edge or controlled danger. They are consistent, yes, but that very consistency can be boring. They never make a woman feel that tension, thrill, or excitement that comes from recognizing controlled power. The kind of power that can protect, but could also hurt. On the other hand, the bad boy has that edge. He shows confidence, strength, and independence. He has the ability to be harsh, distant, or selfish, but he chooses to be protective, kind, and attentive instead. That balance, power combined with restraint, is what makes women notice him, think about him, and feel drawn to him on a level they may not even understand. She senses that he is strong and capable, yet loyal and caring. That mix is almost addictive. It's important to remember, this isn't about manipulation. It's about mastery of your mind, emotions, and actions. A man who is in control naturally inspires attraction. Women feel drawn to him because he represents safety, power, and certainty all at once. His choice to protect her instead of causing harm sends a silent message. I am strong and you can trust me. That is irresistible. So, the first forbidden truth is simple but powerful. Women are instinctively attracted to men who could hurt them but choose not to. The danger they sense awakens desire, and the protection he offers balances that danger perfectly. It triggers deep passion, curiosity, and even obsession because it touches a part of the brain rooted in survival. This explains why nice guys often lose and bad boys win. Not because being mean works, but because strength with control and protection creates an intense, primal pull. When a man understands this, he isn't just attractive on the surface, he becomes unforgettable. He taps into something deeper than looks or charm. He taps into instinct, respect, and the hidden psychology of desire. In short, the man who could hurt her, but doesn't, is the man who commands her attention, fascination, and attraction like nothing else. Here's the second hidden truth about attraction. Women are secretly drawn to men who create a sense of emotional uncertainty, not cruelty or games. This doesn't mean being mean, manipulative, or harsh. It's much simpler than that. Human brains are wired to respond to unpredictability. When something is always the same, it becomes boring. Constant attention, non-stop praise, or always being available feels safe, yes, but it also loses its spark. Predictable behavior doesn't excite the mind, and desire starts to fade. But when a man is fully present, warm, and attentive at times, yet occasionally a little distant or focused on his own life, something powerful happens. Her subconscious starts to notice. She observes when you're engaged elsewhere, when you respond slower than usual, or when your attention is partially elsewhere. That subtle unpredictability keeps her mind active and curious. She begins to think about you more deeply, without even realizing it. Think of it like a slot machine. People don't become addicted because they always win. They become addicted because the wins are unpredictable. Sometimes they win, sometimes they don't, and the uncertainty keeps them hooked. Attraction works in the same way. When a man is always predictable, always validating, and always present, his brain is easy to read. Desire fades. The spark, the tension, the thrill disappears. But when a man is sometimes fully engaged and other times naturally distant, her mind starts to focus on him. She notices small details, wonders what he's thinking, and pays closer attention to his behavior. She may even start questioning if she did something right or wrong. Without a word from him, she begins investing energy to capture his attention. That is the subtle power of emotional uncertainty. This isn't about playing cruel games. Emotional uncertainty comes naturally from having a full life. It comes from being absorbed in work, pursuing personal goals, spending time with friends, or just living your life fully. You're not ignoring her to hurt her, you're creating a presence that feels valuable. A man whose attention isn't freely given all the time is magnetic because it signals that his time, energy, and presence matter. Women are instinctively drawn to men who have this kind of presence. Men whose affection must be earned rather than constantly offered create a deep, almost addictive interest. She can't fully predict him, and that unpredictability keeps desire alive. Her mind remains engaged, thinking about him, trying to understand him, and craving his attention. So the second hidden truth about attraction is simple. Women crave emotional unpredictability, not cruelty. You don't need to play games or act manipulative to be desired. You simply need to live a life that doesn't revolve entirely around her. Pursue your goals, your passions, and your growth. Be fully present when you're with her, and fully yourself when you're not. That balance between presence and distance creates a magnetic pull that is natural, deep, and lasting. When a man understands this, he taps into a subconscious level of attraction. He becomes irresistible, not by trying harder, but by living fully, staying unpredictable in the best way, and showing that his attention is valuable. That is why the nice guy who is always predictable fails, while the man with fire, focus, and a little unpredictability creates a pull women can't resist. Here's the third secret about attraction that most men never realize. Women are naturally drawn to men whose attention isn't freely given, they have to earn it. Now, this isn't about being mean, manipulative, or playing obvious mind games. It's subtle, almost invisible, yet incredibly powerful. It works on a deep, instinctive level. Human psychology reacts strongly to scarcity. When something is too easy to get, it loses value. But when something feels rare or requires effort, it becomes precious. The same applies to your attention. Think about it. If you're always available, always answering texts immediately, always agreeing to plans, and always putting her first, your presence becomes predictable. There's no tension, no spark, no sense of challenge. Her brain doesn't have to work for your attention, it's just there. And predictability kills desire. That's why so-called nice guys who are too accommodating often fail to create strong, lasting attraction. On the other hand, a man who has a busy, meaningful life naturally limits his availability. He doesn't reply instantly. He has responsibilities, goals, hobbies, and passions that occupy him. He's not ignoring her out of spite, he simply values his time, respects himself, and lives a life that matters. This subtle limitation sends a signal to her brain. Your attention is valuable, and it's not guaranteed. That's when attraction intensifies. Here's where the idea of competition comes in, but it's not literal. She's not competing with other women. The competition is internal, psychological. She begins asking herself, am I interesting enough? Am I doing enough to get his attention? Does he even notice me? Her mind becomes actively engaged, working to secure your focus. This mental effort makes her feel invested in you. It increases desire and creates a deeper connection. It's important to understand this isn't about games or cruelty. You're not punishing her by being busy, you're simply living a full life. You have your own priorities, goals, and passions. That natural space makes your presence magnetic because she knows it's not unlimited. Women are instinctively attracted to men who strike the right balance, men who can give attention generously but only when it's meaningful, and men who don't make her the center of their entire world. This balance triggers desire on a subconscious level. She starts to work, consciously or unconsciously, to earn your focus, and that effort strengthens her attraction. So the third forbidden truth is clear. Women want men whose attention they must earn, not men who give it freely all the time. When you live a full, meaningful life, your attention becomes a prize, not a guarantee. And that prize creates powerful, instinctive attraction that lasts. Once you understand this, you naturally create tension, desire, and engagement without forcing anything. You don't need to play games, you just live a life of value. She notices, she invests, she chases. And that's the hidden power of boundaries, scarcity, and selective presence in attraction, the ultimate way to become irresistible. Here's the fourth forbidden truth about attraction. Women are naturally drawn to men who don't constantly need their approval. This may sound simple, but it is extremely powerful. A man who always seeks validation or permission sends a subtle message of insecurity, even if he doesn't notice it. Questions like, is this okay? Do you think I'm right? Should I do this? Repeated too often signal doubt, weakness, and dependence. That immediately lowers attraction because women are instinctively wired to notice strength and certainty, not hesitation and uncertainty. On the other hand, a man who acts confidently, trusts his own judgment, and makes decisions on his own shows leadership and stability. He doesn't need approval for every small choice because he has a clear sense of direction and purpose. That decisiveness creates a deep, unconscious psychological response in women. They feel drawn to him, not because he is controlling or overbearing, but because his certainty makes them feel safe, respected, and attracted naturally. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. Millions of years ago, women needed men who could make quick decisions under pressure, take action in important moments, and solve problems without constantly asking for guidance. Men who hesitated or always sought reassurance weren't seen as protectors or providers. That instinct is still alive in the female brain today. Even in modern life, women are unconsciously drawn to men who can confidently take the lead, handle challenges, and make choices without doubt. This doesn't mean ignoring her feelings or being reckless. True confidence comes from balance. You listen, care, and consider her perspective, but you don't rely on her approval to act. You decide, take action, and adjust if necessary. This shows confidence without arrogance, leadership without control, and strength without intimidation. Here's another way to look at it. When a man constantly seeks approval, he transfers responsibility for his decisions to her. She unconsciously ends up guiding him, giving him confidence, and validating his choices. Over time, this flips the natural attraction dynamic. Instead of her being drawn to him, she is doing the mental work to make him attractive. That is exhausting and unattractive. A man who doesn't need approval does the opposite. He sets his own pace, takes action, and moves with certainty. She notices it, respects it, and is naturally drawn to him. This creates a subtle, subconscious attraction. She senses his strength, trusts his judgment, and wants to be part of his world rather than trying to guide it. In today's relationships, this principle is often misunderstood. Many men confuse being polite or considerate with seeking approval. Being kind and attentive is good, but there is a big difference between being thoughtful and being dependent on her validation. True attraction comes from independence, decisiveness, and trusting yourself. The fourth forbidden truth is clear. Women are drawn to men who don't need their approval. By making confident decisions, trusting your own judgment, and acting decisively, you naturally become magnetic. She sees you as strong, independent, and reliable. This combination triggers respect, desire, and deep attraction at a level she may not even fully understand, but her instincts recognize instantly. Once you understand this and put it into practice, you stop chasing approval and start naturally earning admiration. Your presence becomes commanding, your confidence contagious, and your attraction nearly irresistible. Stop asking for permission. Trust yourself. Decide. Act. And watch as the pull of attraction grows stronger than ever. Here's the fifth forbidden truth about attraction. Women are secretly drawn to men who don't always make themselves available. Before you misunderstand, this isn't about being cruel, manipulative, or playing childish games. It's about creating what psychologists and relationship experts call natural scarcity. When a man's attention is constant and unlimited, it loses its impact. If you answer every text instantly, rearrange your schedule for her every request, or are always available at a moment's notice, your attention becomes ordinary. It stops being special. Desire doesn't grow from what's taken for granted. Contrast that with a man who has a full, purposeful life. He invests time in his work, hobbies, friends, and personal goals. He doesn't revolve entirely around one woman. That doesn't mean he cares less. It means he has priorities, self-respect, and ambition. This kind of balance creates attraction naturally. The occasional absence, the moments he's not instantly reachable, signal that his attention is valuable. It must be earned, not assumed. This works because humans are wired to notice scarcity. Think about anything you want. The rarer or harder it is to get, the more it's valued. The same principle applies in attraction. When a woman senses that a man's time and attention are limited, she begins to appreciate it more. She notices when he's present. She values the moments he gives her. She even misses him when he's not around. That anticipation builds desire. There's also an evolutionary angle. Women's brains respond to signals of value. If a man is always available, it subconsciously tells her he is easy to get. That reduces urgency and interest. On the other hand, when a man is selective and focused on his own life, it signals confidence, capability, and independence, all traits that instinctively attract women. Here's a practical example. Imagine constantly texting a woman, responding immediately to every message, agreeing to every plan. Over time, your presence becomes normal and expected. Now imagine the opposite. Sometimes you respond slower because you're working on a project, socializing with friends, or pursuing a personal goal. Those moments of engagement suddenly feel more meaningful. She notices your attention, cherishes your time, and feels a subtle tension and anticipation. That's emotional engagement at a deep level. The key here is balance. You're not ignoring her to punish her or play mind games. You're prioritizing your life because your time is valuable. Living with purpose creates a natural scarcity that fuels attraction. She invests in you, not out of obligation, but because she genuinely values your presence. This principle also strengthens long-term relationships. When a man is selectively attentive, every interaction feels more intense and memorable. Moments spent together feel vivid. Desire remains alive, even after months or years, because scarcity keeps her brain engaged. Constant availability, on the other hand, dulls excitement over time. So, the fifth forbidden truth is clear. Women are drawn to men who don't always make themselves available. It's not about cruelty, it's about demonstrating that you have a life outside her. Scarcity creates value. Value creates desire. Desire keeps her emotionally invested in ways constant attention cannot. When a man masters this, he naturally balances presence and absence, attention and independence. He becomes magnetic, not through manipulation, but by living a life that commands respect and intrigue. This overlooked principle of human desire is simple yet extremely powerful. Understanding it allows a man to build deep, lasting attraction that feels instinctive, not forced. Here's a truth most men don't understand. Women are naturally drawn to men who can stay emotionally calm and distant when needed. This doesn't mean being rude or cruel. It's about control and self-respect. When she crosses a line or pushes too hard, you don't beg, argue, or over-explain. You simply step back, stay calm, and show that you have your own life and options. This pause is powerful. It sparks something in her mind, a mix of curiosity, desire, and a fear of losing you. She begins to notice that you're not desperate, that she could actually miss out, and suddenly her attention and effort shift toward you. Women instinctively respect men who set limits and enforce them quietly. This emotional restraint isn't coldness in a bad way, it's strength. It signals confidence, leadership, and high value. Being steady and self-controlled makes you magnetic in ways constant affection never could. Truth 7. Women are drawn to men who give praise sparingly, not all the time. If you compliment too much, it loses meaning. But when your praise is rare and real, she starts to notice it deeply. Suddenly, she wants your approval and even starts seeking it herself. The balance flips. She's chasing your validation, not the other way around. Truth 8. Women are most attracted to men who connect with them emotionally. This isn't about controlling her, it's about creating a bond where she feels truly understood, safe, and cared for. When you make her feel this way, she feels free to open up completely, yet also deeply devoted to you. This emotional connection is powerful. It makes attraction almost automatic. If these truths are making sense to you, hit like now. Subscribe to the channel because future videos will show exactly how to use these secrets in real conversations and daily life. Comment below. Which truth surprised you most, or do you think will change your relationships? Don't just watch. Apply this knowledge and watch desire grow around you.